Okay, we are talking about the chart of Nigel Farage, and now I'm going to look at some of his transits and solar arcs. Now, let's first look at the transits. Well, what's really interesting, we know you've seen my other videos where I've talked about Saturn moving into Aries and Neptune as well, but let's look at Saturn, which is moving into Aries. Well, it will be conjuncting his Mars, and next year, around the time when an election could take place, Saturn will be conjunct his Sun. Significant for leadership, power, and the end of a 29-year cycle. And kind of hasn't the whole Brexit movement been going on about 29 years? I'd say it was. It started late 90s, so that was when he first sort of getting involved with UKIP. So the end of a 29-year cycle in quite a lot of success. Now, what's going to be happening a lot this year is Uranus conjunct his Venus, which is very close to his Gemini midheaven. Venus ruling the 9th house, publicity, marketing, promotions. Also ruling Libra, which is where Libra ruling the 2nd house, money is going to be coming in. So huge donations, lots of money, lots of support, lots of big backers coming in, showing there. Also, next year, Uranus is going to be conjuncting his Gemini midheaven. And that indicates like a kind of explosion of activity, more fame, more notoriety, loads of action. And in his natal chart, Uranus is where? Oh, Uranus is on his ascendant natally, right? Conjunct Pluto. So the fact that Uranus reaches the MC, super important for the fulfillment of his destiny, because natally, Uranus conjunct Pluto on the ascendant says that he will be involved in a huge political movement of great consequence in a changing society. So very interesting that Uranus is not only aspecting Venus, which, as I say, important being near the MC, but also impacting the MC, Saturn conjunct Sun, and let's have a look. Yes, his Saturn in Pisces, no, I think we're worried about that too much. Was Pluto busy? Let's see as well. I think his node was also busy. I'm just looking to see Pluto. Oh, by the way, he's got Sagittarius moon, which is why he's a little bit of a womanizer. Trump's also got Sagittarius moon. Both of them have a lot of children. I think Nigel's got 4, Trump's got 5. They've both had numerous partners and wives, so they both got this party animal side to them. Now, Trump doesn't drink, but they still got a wild side. Sagittarius moon men, just stay away from them. Hope you're not a guy there with Sagittarius moon, but they're one of the most difficult signs to get to commit, a guy with Sag moon, right? And they've both got it. And that's why they're characters, but they're also really hard to handle. Yeah, so, oh yes, super interesting, of course. As Pluto is now in the 1st degrees of Aquarius, it will also be squaring Mercury in Taurus. So that's like mass communications as well. And Mercury rules his Gemini midheaven. So Pluto square Mercury ruling his Gemini midheaven. Uranus, which represents politics, on the midheaven. You know, this guy's got to have leadership coming his way and a lot of power, and he will make a difference with it. I'm pretty sure. And don't forget, his Sagittarius moon will also be opposed by Jupiter during the spring. So it's kind of all moving in the right direction with a lot of luck for him. Let's look at his solar arcs, which are also like super interesting. We've got solar arc North Node conjunct Uranus. Uranus, which of course rules the 6th house. That's kind of work, very busy getting the technical aspects of policy ready, right? Uranus also important in terms of its conjunction to Pluto for social change. He has solar arc Saturn conjunct Mercury. Saturn is all about power, authoritarianism, control, conjunct Mercury, the ruler of the MC. It's again telling us about this sort of powerful position he's going to be assuming. We have a solar arc Jupiter right now opposite the moon. Again, that brings him bringing in money. The moon rules the 11th of movements, of politics, of large gatherings, groups of people. So I can see a hell of a lot of rallies and that kind of thing going on. We have the moon solar arc, which is the end of Aquarius, moving to square Venus. Again, fortunate and favor with the public, being very popular, projecting well, amassing, getting good, what do you call it? Good polling numbers, all that sort of thing. So we've talked, and the coup de grace. This is the big one. Solar arc Mars is conjunct his midheaven in Gemini exactly. Mars in his natal chart in the 8th house. 8th house is powerful people that he's involved in, hobnobbing with powerful people. Mars rules his sun. And so Mars conjunct his midheaven in Gemini. I mean, he's got it all going on in his transits, in his solar arc chart, just so much happening. And yes, even Neptune was square Sun, I think. Neptune's by solar arc was going to be Neptune 17. I think that's a little bit past. Yeah. Neptune, basically, solar arc will be squaring Mars, won't it? Neptune solar arc will be conjuncting Mars, of course, because Neptune's in Aries and Mars is in Aries. And you always need a little bit of Neptune in politics, because politics is all theatre. Actually, I'm beginning to think this whole lot is theatre. I mean, it's sometimes is this real life? Is this just fantasy, you know? And a lot of the thing with the Trump, I enjoyed the inauguration. Awesome that the January 6 people are out. I mean, Enrico Torrio and what the other guy's name, but that's really good to know. I always feel terribly for people locked up in injustices like that, like Lucy Letby as well. It actually surprises me. I don't know if any of you guys have commented on my blog on Lucy, but I immediately looked at that trial and I thought the way the press are behaving, same as they behaved with Amanda Knox, same as they behaved in America over Louise Woodward, the same as they behaved with Oscar Pistorius. It was just full on, she's the devil, she's the Baphomet, she's this and that. And I just thought, this is not realistic. There's got to be something more to it. And, you know, my opinion on it as well, a lot of these babies were severely challenged. It was known when the ladies were pregnant with many of them that they were going to have very, very big challenges because of the mother's medical conditions. They came into life with a huge array of problems, which they were in the wrong neonatal unit to start with, because that one was understaffed and ill-equipped to deal with their complex medical issues. So, you know, there was a high possibility that these babies would not make it. And I've looked in it more deeply since then, and I just see that it's a clear miscarriage of justice. Obviously, a lot of David Davis is talking about this. It just shocks me that some people who hated, it was so critical of the NHS during COVID, so critical of the justice system, so critical of the police and the way they behaved during the COVID era, are now happy to fully believe them and go against Lucy. I'd say at the very least, there's reasonable doubt. We're never going to know fully, right? It's all about reasonable doubt, and there certainly is reasonable doubt. Also, the hygiene in that hospital is apparently terrible. Yeah. Where I'm really impressed with Trump is that the going against net zero, because I think if Kamala had been in, it would have been so much easier for Keir Starmer to drive through these really hard crackdowns on energy and push us all towards everything net zero entails. But when there's something to compare it against, when people are looking over and they see Americans have a booming economy, cheap oil and gas, cheap petrol, and they're not being strangled by this net zero, there'll be more pressure on Starmer. Whereas he can't have Kamala there at the Downing Street saying, oh, you know, we're in total partnership with Kamala on this net zero. Also, the end of woke is very much to be welcomed, and I think Trump did say an era of common sense, and already we're seeing that with a lot of the policies. Now, when it comes to the ending of birthright citizenship, I think it's a constitutional matter. You might not really get that one through. But there are a lot of very positive policies that people who voted for him will be happy with. But, you know, we've got a long way to go. I mean, we were all very happy in 2017. COVID came, pretty much changed everything. I know a lot of people are fed up because of the AI thing, and he's pushing AI, but, you know, in one way I can see his point of view, because he thinks if America doesn't do it, China will, and they'll take over. So in a way, you can't stop progress, and some things you have to go with, even though a lot of us feel very uncomfortable with it and disagree with it. I know there was also something about him talking to Gates about mRNA cancer vaccines and all that, and I think, oh, well, you know, as long as they don't force it on me and I stay away from all these things, maybe it's also one of those things that are very hard to stop. But yeah, I mean, he's got amazing stamina. I know David, some people were saying he looked really tired at the inauguration. Yeah, but they hadn't seen the night before. I mean, he had one huge rally the night before. Then that morning, he'd already had tea with Biden, been to church. He had to sit through all that. Then he went through like the whole day. But I think his energy was still great when he was signing the documents. So I think he's got a lot of energy to see this through, or if they let him. And we'll see how we go, you know. Not so sure about this, you know. Look, if I was shot and it clipped my ear, it would make sense. I have very big ears and they stick out a long way. But Trump's not like that. So it would be believable for me. But I wasn't buying that one, actually. Take care, guys.